What surprising yet sort of heartbreaking connection can we make between the life of Walt Disney and the end of the movie Citizen Kane? Hang out with me for a second. This is going to take a minute. Citizen Kane is a movie about William Randolph Hearst. Contentious figure in American history. He promoted war. He used his power and his periodicals, his newspapers, to ferment unrest and philanderer, teetotaler, kind of a controlling dude. And in his time, he was not liked. Along comes Orson Welles, makes his first big film, Citizen Kane, about William Randolph Hearst. I'm sure Hearst was not happy about him doing that. But the movie was a big success, and at the end of the movie, if you haven't seen it, Kane, who is the stand-in for William Randolph Hearst, the character Kane passes away, and out of his hand rolls a snow globe, and he utters the words, "Rosebud." What does it mean? What is it? What is this? Budding directors, film historians, this is a big one. They all talk about it. Inside the snow globe that rolls out of Kane's dead hand is a red snow sled named Rosebud. What does it mean? I'll tell you. After all the money, after all the powerful dealings, after all the dirty deeds, after all the philandering, after all the parties, after being hated and reviled, manipulating governments, manipulating people, buying everyone and everything that he wanted ever, at the very end moment of his life, the thing that he wanted most and the thing he called out for was not a person, was not his wife, was not a deity. It was his red boyhood snow sled. Sweet and pathetic, I think, is the tone. Acknowledging that no amount of money or power can actually make you happy, and at the last moment, you're going to cry out for the thing that really brought you joy. A toy. Something that brought him comfort. Okay, now we get to the connection between that scene and Walt Disney. Walt Disney was similar to William Randolph Hearst. He had a lot of power. He had a lot of influence. He worked with the government. He was against unions. He was against his employees having any power. He paid women less, and he didn't treat them very well. And yet he stands up to be one of the kings of industry and somebody who's created more stuff than almost anybody else. A lot of money, a lot of influence, a lot of power. Kind of like Hearst. And through all that, Walt had this thing that he liked to do. At the end of the day, he would go into his office, light a cigarette, look out of the window, and he would invite the Sherman Brothers, the famous writers of all the songs of the original movies, Mary Poppins, Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, Jungle Book. Look for the bare necessities, those simple bare necessities. Amazing songs that we all know and love and remember. So the Sherman Brothers would come up to his office at the end of the day. Walt would be there smoking, looking out the window, and he'd say to them, "Play it, boys." And they would know exactly what he wanted to hear, because he always wanted to hear it. They would play one specific song from Mary Poppins. Feed the birds, tuppence a bag, tuppence, tuppence, tuppence a bag. And he would just stare out the window, wistfully, smoking his cigarette, listening to Feed the Birds. The most successful theme park in history, the most successful children's entertainment in history. Merchandising, toys, propaganda, more money than anyone would ever know what to do with. Power, prestige. And Walt just wanted to hear Feed the Birds at the end of the day. And he said that's what it's really about. Makes me a little sad because, they got rid of... There was one place in Disneyland where you could actually, they had a petting zoo for a little while. You could feed goats or feed a sheep or something like that. But then they got rid of it. So it's there's nowhere in Disneyland to really have a simple human pleasure like that. But the simple act of feeding an animal, feeding the birds, buying a bag of crumbs from an old woman on some steps and then feeding the pigeons. That sentiment was what it was really all about for Walt. I think it's a great recognition of the power of simplicity, the power of human kindness, and just knowing that time and time again we see these great men, powerful people who we think have everything. They create these worlds, but for them, it was this one simple thing that made them happier than anything else. So if you long for power and influence and stuff like that, and most of us will not ever achieve anything like that in our lifetimes. And I think that's okay, because we have the evidence that a toy, a song, a sled, a dog, a cat, a bird, kindness, that ultimately is what it's all about. Thanks for hanging out.